meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hargit.
Here.
Trustee Levin.
Here.
Trustee Marvella.
Here.
Trustee McCarthy.
Here.
Trustee White.
Here.
Trustee Whitmore. Here. Mayor Bruno.
Here. Please stand for tonight's invocation and pledge of allegiance. Tonight's invocation will be led by Pastor Steve Bycroft with North Point Church. Pastor Bycroft.
Will you pray with me? Father, we come before you tonight, and Lord, as we go into this meeting, I pray that the decisions that are made would, number one, glorify you and be a benefit to this village, this city, and the people of it. God, we thank you for the safety that you've brought. We do pray for the people who are sick. Lord, that you would just keep your hand upon them and heal them. God, most of all, we just pray for your blessing upon this city, the people that are here, and the surrounding communities, and pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item, approval of minutes. I need a motion to approve the December 21st, 2021 regular board meeting minutes.
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? Roll call, please.
Hargit.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Marvella.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Whitmore. Aye.
Motion carried. Second item, need a motion to approve the December 27th, 2021 emergency board meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
Discussion on that. Roll call, please.
Hargit.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Marvella.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Whitmore. Aye.
Motion carried. Move on to mayor's report. I need a motion to adopt appointment resolution appointing David Alarcon as interim building official and Zion Benton Enterprise Zone member.
So second.
More stuff on your plate.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, any discussion on that item? All right, roll call, please.
Hargit.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Marvella.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Whitmore. Aye.
Motion carried. I also need a motion to adopt appointment resolution appointing Lou Velez as a part-time police officer.
So moved. Second.
Discussion. Who is this gentleman? Give me some insight.
Yeah, I'll make sure we introduce him when he comes in. Hopefully swears in next month. But Lou is a former police officer, 10 years at the Evanston Police Department. He's recently went out to the Barrington Police Department, and he's joined us part-time. He has an unbelievable record working at Evanston and now at Barrington, and he's just another person that's going to help us move forward and provide the highest level of service for the community. So, highly decorated, highly honored, and a really pleasure to have him work with us.
Is he on any committees? Or
I think committees.
NIFAS, I think
He is on NIFAS, right? He's on the NIFAS Emergency Services team. He's taken the spot that Vic Churio, who has recently left us and moved to Florida, became officer down there. Smart move this time of year. But yeah, he's taken his spot.
All right, thank you, Police Chief.
Yes, sir.
All right. Roll call.
Hargit.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Marvella.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Whitmore. Aye.
Motion carried. I need a motion to set aside the rules for the President and Board of Trustees to waive the first and second readings of ordinance amending section 125.01 of the municipal code of Winthrop Harbor, increasing video terminal lease license fees.
So moved. Second.
Okay, discussion. This is just going to raise the fee from $25 per terminal to $250 per terminal. Any other discussion on that?
Days worth of money, right?
I'm sorry?
It's just like a couple hours worth of money.
Yep.
Easy.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Hargit.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Marvella.
Aye.
McCarthy?
Aye.
White?
Aye.
Whitmore? Aye.
Motion carried. Move on to village administrator's report. David?
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, usually I operate with a written report. For this first one, I hope you don't mind that it'll be a verbal report. Just highlighting on some of the key areas that I've been working. First of all, I want to thank everyone for their warm welcome. This is actually now my third week here, so I appreciate everyone from the board level and also on the staff level for the warm welcome. Going right into business, one of the priorities with Pat's departure, we've done a little bit of restructuring within the building department and economic development department. We have an interim plan in place. First of all, I want to recognize the administration team, Julie's team, for stepping in. As part of the interim plan, we have both ladies that work in the office. One is handling the building department, processing simple permits, and doing follow-up calls on those. While the other one has been, is doing some of the journal entries that were being done by Pat. So I just want to thank Julie's team for helping us. On the inspections, Pat Callahan continues to do the inspections, and in the interim, he's going to continue to do the low-level permit reviews. When I mean low-level, it's more like fences, window replacements. He's going to continue to do those, review applications. One of the motions that you just recently approved is I was named the interim building official for the purposes of signing off on building permits. And I'll be discussing that process a little bit further down in my report. Pat Callahan's also going to be checking up on existing permits where work's being performed right now. And as an additional duty, he is also going to be taking drives in different sections of the village just to make sure that everyone's in compliance with our building permit requirements. Just making sure that there's no work being done without any building permits. BNF Code Services, which is going to be an action item with this agenda. BNF Code Services conducts reviews of building permits, also conducts inspections when needed. They're going to be utilized as backup service when we look at much larger scale projects and projects where there might be where we would need a third party to step in and to advise the village and also to conduct inspections. They also do zoning review when needed for more complex problems. And not to single you out, but Trustee Hargett has graciously also offered assistance when it came to zoning reviews and zoning issues, so I really appreciate him stepping up to the plate. I hope that it's okay that I announce this. I'm kind of committing you to it. So I appreciate that support. The other key area that I've been focused on has been the finances. Also, as an action item, there's an action item for a service agreement with GovTemps. This is going to provide us an interim finance director that will, and the goals of this finance director, immediate goals, will be to produce year-to-date reports for the board and for the department heads, to review our financial policies and procedures, to make recommendations, and also to make recommendations on the current financial software that the village currently uses. In collaboration with the chief, with fire chief, we're also going to have them review our ambulance billing services as part of the service. We're hoping that if approved, we would be moving on this, on filling this vacancy through this temporary agency. We've had our first staff meeting on Wednesday, department head staff meeting. That's one of the efforts that we're trying to utilize, is utilizing the department heads as a think tank and to open up communication between departments in the hopes that we can more efficiently run the village and bring better ideas to the village board, and also help in fulfilling the goals of the village board. So we had our first meeting last Wednesday, and I just want to thank everyone for their participation. Lastly, I've worked in 2 other communities. I've never worked in a community that had their own fire department. This past week, I had the experience of the first fire, which the chief called me out on. And one thing I do want to say is I want to commend the personnel of the Winthrop Harbor Fire Department for their rapid response that saved the structure and the command staff. And also I want to commend the collaboration with the police department and with Pat Callahan of our building department. We very efficiently were able to provide a tremendous service to these residents in a matter of during a really bad time in their lives. They saved that building thanks to their quick efforts and the collaboration with the police and building department. So I just want to recognize them for their efforts. And that's my report, Mayor.
Okay, Dave, thank you. That finance person, initially when that person comes on, it's gonna be, they may be working more than part-time, but ultimately it's gonna be a part-time position.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that. Okay, thank you, David. Let's see, we move on to clerk's correspondence.
I have none.
Okay, no old business, we move on to new business, committee reports, administration and community development committee, trustee Hargit.
All right, make a motion to approve accounts payable warrant 2021-10 in the amount of $205,310.53.
Second. Second, any discussion on the warrant? Roll call, please.
Target,
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Mirabella.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Whitmore. Aye.
Motion carried.
Make a motion to approve the ratification of the annual tax levy ordinance.
Second.
All right, any discussion on that? Okay, roll call.
Target,
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Mirabella.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Whitmore. Aye.
Motion carried.
Make a motion to approve the service agreement with BF Code Services for building and zoning services.
Second.
All right, any discussion on that item?
This is what
Yes.
was just described, so they'll be our kind of backup for those larger reviews.
For bigger projects,
Yeah.
smaller ones, we should be with our own ordinances and our own laws in effect, should be able to be taken care of in-house.
Correct.
It's gonna be the bigger projects that need more stipulations and have to meet different codes that
Correct.
people that are involved might not be aware of. So I
Who's
think
gonna be the individual that decides if it's gonna stay in-house or if it's gonna go to this?
Every day.
Sounds good.
Yes, sir. Okay, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Target,
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Mirabella.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Whitmore.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And last, I make a motion to approve the service agreement for temporary financial services.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
We
Same
just
thing.
discussed
Yes,
this,
you did.
so this is a temp position, and it's defined as part-time. We'll get through the initial contract, get caught up, and then see what the needs are going forward.
So being said, being on the board a long time, we progressed with the building administrator, with the village administrator, right? And then we became aware of, with Mr. Long, that our books weren't always in place, so people that were put in place before my time, I'm not gonna go down the road and start blaming and pointing fingers, but things were done a certain way, and obviously things weren't done right. So I just want the public to know that we're starting to do things right, we're starting to get our eggs in a basket here, we're starting to do things, but this is part of the process. So we went back, and Mr. Long came on and he went back, but it's only going back so far just to get us caught up. So this is just a measure to get us moving forward from now. It's something that, it's gonna be some extra money, but it's something that the village needs, I believe personally, just because we have never been meticulous about this kind of stuff, and we need to know this kind of stuff moving forward as a body here too, just so we know where we sit and where money is and what we have, so.
Well, and to be clear, during the audits and reviews that we did at the end of last year, there was no suspicion of unethical behavior, right? It was a matter of a lack of ability to be able to report out and get the granular data that we want out of it to know how we're doing in real time.
and know that things are coming to the board to be approved, that funds are being moved.
Like any business, it should have been done. It's not
Absolutely.
done.
No, I
So
agree.
you can wash it however you wanna wash it, we've never done it, we're doing it,
Yes.
and that's why we're at this point.
Yes.
So, that's what,
No, I think getting a.
nobody did anything wrong,
Yeah.
except it was never done.
Yep. I think getting a temp in, getting Dave off on the right footing, having that data available, I think is gonna be critical.
If I make,
Yeah.
if I could make one comment?
Yes,
Just to be clear, Lauterbach and Amen, is still working on reports for last fiscal year. The scope of work for this interim will be, from our finances from May first through the end of our last, through the end of the second quarter, December 31st. And based on this, Attorney Long, you had a comment on how, you're recommending we should proceed, with this agreement?
That's correct. You know, this, for whatever reason, this particular contract came in too late to be posted as part of the publicly available agenda. Yet the need to proceed is paramount. I looked at the contract carefully. It's not going to run afoul of our rules to adopt it for a short period of time, but it should be ratified next month after it's been publicly posted as part of the agenda package. Make sure that the public understands what's going on. You know, the comments that the trustees have made about the budget, you know, or the financial problems, fundamentally, the biggest problem is the lack of transparency in some of the issues. The fact that we have too much revenue posted as miscellaneous for one thing, $200,000 for the last fiscal year, which ended in 2021, is emblematic. It creates problems with our auditing, and it doesn't let people know what the money's really being, where the revenue sources are coming from, what it's being used for. So those are the kind of things that we need to get under control. So as part of that transparency, it makes sense to make sure that the path going forward includes people that have contracts that are fully disclosed and available to the public, and let them know if they wish to look at them and see what exactly their money's being spent on.
In the future, we are only looking to have a part-time finance director, correct? You know, we are paying a pretty hefty sum for a full-time finance director for things to not be done correctly.
What we're hoping for, are those recommendations to be presented to the board, and have the board, based on those recommendations, make a decision.
Okay. I know one thing, like you said, this finance person is going to evaluate our software. I know the MSI software that they've been using here, it's very hard to maneuver through, and very difficult for anyone to really, know how to operate it. So that's something I'm sure they're gonna suggest us to change. I'm not sure exactly what we'll go to, but it's gonna be easier to maneuver through, whatever we pick, so. Okay. All right. I need a roll call.
Parkin?
Aye.
Levin?
Aye.
Mirabella?
Aye.
McCarthy?
Aye.
White?
Aye.
Whitmore?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, trustee Hargis. We move on to public comments. Just ask that you provide us with your name and your address. Who would like to go first?
I guess I will. I'm Barbara DeRucci, and I live at 432 Kirkwood Avenue. Moved into the village just a little over a year and a half ago. And my husband and I have decided to get a little politically involved. And I'm currently now appointed precinct committeeman or person, and will be running to get elected in this election this year. But I've also taken over the chairmanship of the committee persons for Benton Township. And I just wanted to let everybody know that we do have an event, a meet and greet coming up this next Tuesday, January 25th at Shepherd's Crook Golf Course. And we've got Peggy Hubbard coming up, and she is one of the GOP candidates that will be running for the U.S. State Senate. or the US Senate, I'm sorry. And we just hope that anybody who's interested would come on out and meet one of the candidates and see what she stands for. And that's one of the things we plan on doing throughout this election, is try to bring in different candidates so people can come and meet them and get a little more personal, hands-on experience with them, so they know what their choices are going to be, both at the primary and at the general election. So if anybody is interested, I do have tickets available. They're $5. We're going to have cash bar and hors d'oeuvres, so, but we hope that you come out and support us.
What time is that?
It starts at 6:30,
Okay.
but you don't have to be there right at 6:30, so, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Barb.
Mhm.
Good evening, my name is Elena Owen, I live at 421 Ravine Drive. I was here last month asking about the landfill. There was this procedure going on, the landfill hearings, and I actually went away under the impression that Winthrop Harbor does not have a host agreement with the landfill, but you do. I don't know why I got that impression, but there's definitely a signed host agreement by Winthrop Harbor.
It's not a host agreement.
Well, that's what it is tagged in material that they have. It was a resolution. We don't need to argue that. Maybe I don't have the term right, but it was something negotiated that, and I'm not against it. I was just under the impression we wouldn't get anything out of the landfill, and we are going to get money, some tipping fee and some cash payment, which I think is fine. But it also sort of raises for me then sort of the responsibility, if we do take money, that we make sure that we're going to get the best expansion that we can possibly get, with the most protective things that we get for the neighbors. And being at the hearing, the Lake County and Swalco have a host agreement that has a public engagement opportunity as part of it. There's going to be a website, and people can file their complaints, and the company's going to post their reports there. I make sure that somebody asks the question of the company if Winthrop Harbor would be included in that, and the answer is yes. And I think that's a very positive step forward for all of us who are concerned about various things or not concerned, and just want to make sure that we're on top of what's happening out there, that there's more transparency, and that will be easier done in the future. There is still public comment. There's another hearing tomorrow. It's been this oral comment, just comment, no questions. And there is going to be a written comment period, I think, for 30 days after tomorrow, if people just want to write. I don't have information who to send it to. It comes out of Zion, and today their website wasn't updated about the information for the written notification, the comments. I don't know how to get the word out, but I will let you all know how to do that. And again, the hearing tomorrow is at the high school from 4 till 8. If people want to come out and just make comments on the landfill expansion, that would be a good opportunity.
Thank you very much. I'll just say one thing too. GFL, the manager, don't know his last name. I know his first name's Michael.
Yeah.
Did you meet him?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Very nice guy. I just want to sit down with him and have a conversation with our residents that border the landfill.
Yeah. The landfill, for those who don't know, will go Oslerweiler, so the landfill will go all the way up to Russell Road.
Right.
and down Kenosha Road. It's
Right.
going to be 890 feet high when it's done, with big berms around it. And there's going to be a gate on Russell Road, but that gate will not be for garbage trucks, so there should not be additional traffic onto, other than a couple of employees who use the gate. That was one of the questions that we asked because of before we stop, and we had a fatal car crash. We had to make sure that we don't add garbage trucks into the mix on Russell Road, and the answer is no. They can only use the main gate, and I think that's a good outcome.
And there's a gate on 9th Street that they
Yes, the
use
gate on
for
9th
trucks.
Street, which they
I think
use.
it's just for accessibility.
Right, they used to haul the leachate out of that gate.
Right.
And it was couple of times open. I've never really seen anybody going in and out. And there's going to be a small parking lot on the gate, future gate on Russell Road.
Right.
But other than that, I think the traffic one, I wasn't too concerned. There's other things I'm more concerned about.
Right.
Traffic.
Are we all?
Yes.
Thank you, Rena.
And so to be clear on that, we have no legal authority. I mean, we have some leverage when it comes to public opinion, and if there's any type of environmental things that affect us as neighbors, but the point is, I think what we were trying to say last time is that we have no legal position when it comes to bargaining, with what they do or anything like that. So it's whether, if they violate something, specifically environmental-wise, or if people kick up enough fuss, we have leverage there. But that was, I think, our point was to say that we don't have any real
That is
legal.
true, because
yeah.
we're not the hosting community. But
Right, I just wanted to make sure
we
we're
are
saying the
gonna
same
get
thing, I just want to make sure.
tipping
it's
fees, and we
clear
are
to
going to
anyone.
get a cash payment, so we do get something out of that.
Yeah, we do receive, that, but that's not because of hosting or anything, that's because of us neighboring that
Yeah.
and everything. And it's more, I think, goodwill on their part to do it because they know what they're putting
Hey, I
in.
take goodwill over
Right.
any day.
Yeah, that's better than
What's wrong
that.
with that?
Well, one thing, I don't want to depend on the money, because that's going to go away in a 25-year timeframe. That's not-
Yeah, unless they find another way to expand that landfill. I mean, the
Yeah,
last
but-
3 expansions were almost for 20 years, and this is what the.
We were told
says,
this
so we
expansion
should be
is the last
100
one they
years
could
out.
have.
Yeah, they're not, so, yeah. But they will make money when they bring in garbage, as long as garbage is a commodity that is of value to the people who want to store it, we are going to have landfills in town, so.
Right. Thank you.
Take on our town is just ridiculous.
Hi, my name is Brenda Dixon. I live at 3002 Highland Court. I am also Benton Township Precinct, was 52. Now I'm 55,
Oh,
and I
you're
have
mine.
been appointed. That's right, I'm going to get your signature. And anyway, to what Brenda was saying is, it's my understanding that when this whole, when the Illinois EPA went ahead and expanded the landfill, Winthrop Harbor had absolutely no say in it. And Winthrop Harbor still has absolutely no say in it. But I live off of Roberts Road on Highland Court, and I have to smell the methane at night, in the morning. I don't have my windows open. There's a phone number that you're supposed to call every time you smell methane. And I think it's ridiculous for those of us who have to smell that stench. And when they're burning stuff and the wind is blowing right, and we have our windows open through the screens, we get brown debris all over our furniture, we get yellow debris, and it's, but we have absolutely no say in it. Are you kidding me?
Well, years ago, that property was in Winthrop Harbor, and then that property was de-annexed and Zion annexed it.
Okay, but still, Mayor,
So it's actually Zion, but they're the primary people on the contract, we're secondary.
so we still have no say as to the methane. And when all the lawsuits were going through to stop the expansion of it, with the lawsuit, they were putting chemicals in the methane, so it smelled real flowery, and you didn't smell the straight methane. So, that's a pretty dirty, pool to do. And the fact that it's going to extend to the extent it's going to be expanded, and those of us who live on the west side of town have to smell that, is unacceptable. So I can't believe that there's nothing that we as a community can do about it.
Well, we tried to contact the people down in Springfield, our state rep even attempted to establish a bill that would increase the setback of the expansion area, and they beat that. The attorneys for the landfill literally said, any bill you create, we will destroy. So, we try everything, but we're gonna keep, that's why I wanna have a meeting with the manager of GFL, who runs it now, just to let him know that we're concerned and we need his support.
Well, we should continue to file those complaints,
Yes, I
because that's
agree.
what we do have, is the public opinion and those complaints and everything. That's important, if we don't have that document in the future.
If we could put that phone number, every single time we do our newsletters, put it in there, because people lose things and forget, it would be helpful to the community. So I would appreciate that, but, Okay,
And I was at one of those meetings. It was a crash course on landfill operations. This is my third week here. One of the things that I collaborated with the residents, and some of the things that the village has already taken a look into is exactly what the trustee said about the documentation. One of the things that we're gonna work on is, that's great that there's an avenue for documentation, but is the documentation of that actual issue available to the public? So it's great that you have an avenue to file a complaint, but does the village or local government have the avenue to take a look at what the complaint was and how it was handled? And from that point on, start taking a look at those complaints and start to formalize if there's really an issue, if it's an isolated problem that was reported. So that's one of the things that we're taking a look into. And please, excuse me, I just started here, but that first meeting that I attended was a great opportunity to really get into the operations, what the issues are. And ultimately, I believe that what the trustee said is key. For the time being, the documentation is key. So we have that data, so we can approach by saying there is a problem. We just need to make sure on the village's end and the village staff end that we're able to access that data for the complaints and what was done about it.
okay, no, I appreciate that, and I think that is a good game plan. I just have a question, comment. You mentioned welcome,
Thank you.
Mr. Alarcon. Using a temp agency to fill a position and using a third party for building inspections only when it's necessary. I used to work with temp agencies, and I know the upcharge and how it can get very expensive. So at what cost to us, and the same thing with, having somebody come in and fill in, for financial, at what cost is that going to be to us, the residents? Because you're looking at some pretty steep fees, especially for anything having to do with financial. I mean, that is I'm just saying that that's going to be an expensive cost. And the other thing that I wanted to piggyback onto what Barb said, the $5 fee that we have for bringing in candidates, that's to help us offset the fee, because the cost of us to rent the Shepherd's Crook golf course is going to cost the Benton Township Precinct $250. So we hope to get everybody out there. And at the Illinois GOP, we got some kudos last night, because Benton Township Precinct used to be a firehouse. We used to be very strong in this area, very conservative, and everything fell to the wayside. And we used to have, like, just Alana was our only Benton precinct, and now we have almost all of them full. Almost all the positions full. So we're moving full steam ahead. We want to bring in, all residents, regardless of what your party is. We want you to see what the candidates are all about, and just engage. And that's the thing that's very hard to do, even to come to meetings and things. So we're trying to open it up and just to go ahead and to have our residents aware of what we have going on. So with that, thank you.
We're aware of the extra costs. So what a lot of people aren't realizing, during COVID, we've cut everybody. There's been times when there's been ladies in the office that had to wait to go to use the bathroom for somebody else to come in, because either somebody's sick or somebody's doing it. We've bare bones this village. Even our department, we're down, man. I mean, it's hard on our guys. Everybody's down. We're trying to do everything we can. With this, we're just trying to piece this in so we can get a grasp of it and then move forward. We're not going to do permanent, but we're just trying to find a way to get through, because we've had people leaving. People have been leaving, and we've had to get rid of part-time people because we can't afford it. So by hiring out, we don't have to pay benefits or insurance or any of that, which makes it a lot cheaper.
No, you're right.
And with our police department and our public works, we're union guys. So I'm a big union. I'm all for that. But when you can avoid some of that, and it's hard to do, because you want people to have jobs and you wanna use people within the village, but at what point do you overprice the village residents? Because we're doing
And you're
this.
absolutely right.
And we're
I
looking
did have a moment, a senior moment.
We are looking at as cost savings, so that's like the financial ones to be part-time, so to bring in, it's double-edged to have the, professionalism in finance that we need, add an actual cost savings by contracting out part-time instead of doing that full-time. So that is the idea behind it, isn't to just contract out because we need to, it's for cost savings as well.
Okay, I understand, and that's a good plan. However, it's like, I heard it mentioned tonight, to make sure that things get done, and they're not, and they don't slip through the cracks, because on the back end, it always costs, not just financially, but you're talking transparency and everything, and there has been some things over the years that as a precinct committeeman, start talking to residents in and out of our precinct, they have a lot to say about a lot of shady things that went on in the past, and they don't like it, and they don't like that we are not transparent, and we want to see a better accountability with things, and so that's that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Evening.
I am Beth McGinnis. I live at 320 Deerpath Drive. Do I understand correctly that the state of Illinois has awarded Windsor Harbor the opportunity to open a cannabis shop?
We're looking at that option, yes.
So no licenses have been issued. So
Right.
when the state approved cannabis,
Mm-hmm.
we have an opportunity to either deny it and say we're not gonna allow it here, or define the zoning where it would be allowed.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, that's where, as we define the zoning, for where cannabis could be, which is, basically along our any of our commercial corridors, as long as it meets the state's requirements for feet away from childcare facilities, distance from schools, those parks, those sorts of things. So that's where we're at right now is, no, requests have come before the board for a facility. We've had tire kickers and groups come and tour facilities, but no official requests have come before the board.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Very good. Move on to unfinished business. I'll start down with trustee Whitmore.
I don't have a whole lot. Basketball is going on, and our fun fair will be February 26th. February 26th. So stay tuned for more information.
Thank you, trustee Whitmore. Trustee McCarthy.
I doesn't just, thank you to David for hitting the ground running and really for all the staff, coming together. I know it's not easy right now with all the changes and with, Pat leaving. If Pat was here, I would thank and congratulate him, but I'll do so in his absence too for his, service. That's it.
He'll be watching.
What?
He'll be watching.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's like, wait, what happened?
No, when it comes out.
It's like the video, I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? I didn't hear about that.
Trustee Hargis.
Welcome, Dave. Appreciate how you're hitting the ground running. And then, even though Pat's not here, we have this unique time frame of his resignation falling right in between meetings. But the fact that we're having to break apart these different skill sets,
Right.
he was wearing a lot of different hats for the village, and definitely thankful for his time here. He will be missed, and wish him luck. Wadsworth got a good one.
Yep. Thank you. Trustee Mirabella.
So, I know baseball and softball is starting up the 31st sign-ups, at the end of January, and they usually run till March, because they start up practice in April, so. Other than that, we've, not to jinx anybody, but I'm
Don't
sure.
say it, don't say it.
Anyway, we're doing well with what we got, over there. We've been doing good. We're still down a man in our public works. A lot of people don't realize we've hired, but we're still down one, and they're doing a great job. And with all the COVID and everything happening, even in our office, we're so small. It's hard to if somebody gets sick and you have to quarantine, it's a struggle, and we've been lucky so far, we've been blessed with that part of it. At my company, I know it goes in and out, we try to keep the office people away from the field people and such, just so stuff like that doesn't happen. Other than that, I mean, we've had a couple of snow activities and they've been handled really well, so hopefully moving forward we will. We're out there communicating every day with the police department, so they keep us well informed of how the roads they're getting slicker now. And, congratulations to Dave, getting a nice new job, he seems really ambitious. Seems like he's gonna do a good job for us. We'll let us know about that in a few years. I'm one of the harder ones here, so I'll sure give it to him if I have to, so that's all I'm gonna say on that, but yeah, thank you, and, that's all I got.
Thank you, trustee Fairfellow. Trustee Levitt?
Guys, welcome Dave, and look forward to working with you. That's all I have.
Thank you, trustee Levitt. Trustee White?
Thank you. Welcome Dave. I worked with him in a few meetings, and he is all arms and legs and head. I mean, he's full bore, fat, you know, into the fry pan, and he's moving fast for me. So, it's hard, at my age, it's hard to keep up with you. But yeah, we've had a couple of good meetings, and especially in the finances and some of the investments that we're making with the temporaries in the future and the long term is going to mean the savings for the village of Winthrop Harbor. And that's what I'm looking forward to. So thank you, and that's all I have.
Thank you, trustee Weiss. Also, I'd like to welcome Dave. We went to lunch today over at Cindy's Petite Suites. Got to meet Cindy Pacquelinton, and we had a good meeting, and she hit it off. I'm sitting there listening to the two of them talk, and I'm just sitting back eating my sandwich and eating my soup and sandwich. It was a good meeting, though. It was really good. So I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight, too. Keep me posted on what's going on next Tuesday. So, and I want to see you. I want to talk to you before I go into closed session. So that's one thing. So that's all I have. I need to call a closed session meeting on collective bargaining for the police department. Invite the village board in, village administrator, the village attorney, the village clerk, and our police chief.
I would say it's
Motion to go into.
so moved.
Sorry. Roll call.
Aye. Levin?
Aye.
Mirabella?
Aye.
McCarthy?
Aye.
White?
Aye.
Whitmore?
There'll be no action taken.
It's nice to have this many people without there being a problem.
I know.
I know, it is nice that there's a lot of people in here, and we're not. I love